All right, this is a 2021 Polaris Ranger XP 1000 NorthStar Premium. I've been doing a lot of plowing in northern Minnesota this year. The year is 2021. This is a Kolpin Conqueror. After a lot of use this winter, I started to smell a little bit of a burning rubber smell. So my research has taken me to a place of thinking that I need to open up my cover here and replace the drive belt, maybe clean it out a little bit. I've heard people use this. I've heard people saying not to use this as well. We're probably going to use it and make sure it's all wiped off. I found this little tool in my kit here that comes with the Ranger when you buy it. And then I got a clutch puller tool here on Amazon. I hope it's the right size. It was a little better priced. So my research says that I got 8 of these bolts to take out here, screws. I got my 5/16 on here. I'm gonna use a drill. We'll see how it goes. This is my first time doing it, so I'm gonna share with you the things that I learned. There's one. All right, so my 5/16 worked to remove 7 out of the 8 of these bolts pretty easily, except for this one here. It's just kind of tight in there. I think we are gonna have to take off this unit anyways, so I might end up doing that, but for now I'm just gonna try to find a different way to take that guy out. Looks like the smaller ratchet head is gonna work just fine for removing this last one here. All right, the next step looks like it's gonna be loosening this. So the same tool that I used to get that last unit out, last little bolt, the 5/16 is gonna be the ticket there. So we're just gonna loosen that, pull that off. You could also use a standard flat head screwdriver on the nut there. I didn't, but I'm actually gonna be using it to just get this started to scoot away. Yeah. All right, so I pulled this away. I have like a little bit of oil in there. I'm not sure if that's normal. Maybe it's normal. But I'm gonna clean it out. I'm gonna try to clean everything as it comes apart here. Before I even started the project, I sprayed the whole unit down with the hose just so there's less mud and sand going on when I'm working on it. What is that? Well, I'm trying to wipe all the sand out of here too. I don't know what that orange stuff is. I'm gonna see if I can wipe that off. Okay, so I just kind of pushed the air box up out of the way, or not the air box, but the air hose out of the way for now. I'm gonna be taking off this bolt here on the air box, as well as that bolt, and then apparently the pin. So that pin back there. I'm going to be using a 13/32 to get these bolts off here. All right, I got bolt number 1 out, bolt number 2 out, and then the push pin out. It's pretty easy to ruin these. I've gotten a little bit better after doing it a few times. It's easy to jack them up, but I just used my flathead screwdriver to first pull on this the top portion here. You pull that out, you separate it from the middle plastic portion here, and then you just keep pulling until it stops. And then once it's at about this amount removed, then you can put your screwdriver behind this neck and pull the whole thing out like that. And that should be free now. Okay, so take that back. There's actually 9 bolts that come off around here. My previous instructions were misleading. But yeah, so then once you can get all 9 of those off, it should start to pop out here. So we got her started. Now I'm gonna have to jack around and figure out how to get this thing off here. All right, taking the cover off was not easy. The main thing is definitely getting your air box up as far out of the way, as you can. Same with your air hose. I don't know if my orientation was the right way, but I made it work. You just got to get it up, out of the way, because that's going to be the main thing blocking you. Also, this was kind of blocking me. Everything's pretty tight in here, but it is off. We didn't break anything, and so that is a way to do it. And so I'm going to Windex this and clean it all off, try to get all the dirt and debris out, and then I think next is we're going to blast this area out here. So I just sprayed this, and I've been wiping it out, and black dust is coming off, which I think is going to be hopefully helping to reduce my smell of burnt rubber. The smell of burnt rubber doesn't happen all the time, but it definitely happens when the machine is being worked hard, and I really wanted to not have that happen anymore. So next is we're going to blow this out and try to clean it off. See if we can get any of the burnt rubber smell to stop happening. All right, another place that I'm going to pay special attention to is this inside rim here. As you can see, I'm taking out a lot of black and a lot of dirt. So I'm going to run a whole bunch of these Q-tips along the edge, because that'll keep a proper seal and hopefully extend the life of our clutch and our belt. All right, I don't know, I ran about 10 Q-tips through here. It's looking pretty good. I guess there's still some debris in there. But the seal, it seems like it's like, it's an important part to keep sealed. And if we don't have salt and sand and all that stuff in there, it's going to be able to seal better. Also, it'll extend the life of our actual seal. I'm also going to make sure that this interior part is totally dry from my cleaning product before I put it back on. Also, I got my hardware soaking in WD-40. That'll help get it back in there and maybe make it easier to take it out next time. So when you spray this, there's a significant amount of black dust that's coming out, and so you want to get as much of that out as you can. So we're going to blow all of this out and try to clean the dust out. All right, so my side-by-side came with the clutch puller tool and the little tool kit that they give you. And so once you start going righty-tighty with it, you'll kind of see the belt starts to get a little bit looser on here. And so we're going to see if we can pop our belt off now. So before I completely pulled it off, I made a note on there with a paint marker that says out, because this side is going to be the outside of the unit, because this belt isn't ruined. So I'm probably going to use this during the winter time for plowing season. And so now I know which way it needs to go back when it goes back. So now I'm going to inspect the belt here. And so I don't see any like fraying or anything. Maybe a tiny bit of like glazing. But overall, it doesn't look too bad. All right, and so for today's clean, we're gonna actually remove our secondary clutch. So we're actually gonna take out this little tool before we remove this bolt here. All right, and so we got a 10 millimeter on our impact here. We're gonna try to take this off here. All right, so lefty-loosey on the impact, and then I actually held on to this with my hand because it wants to spin a little bit, but once you get it started, it comes right off. You're gonna have some of these little like washer shim things in there. Make sure that you grab all of them. On mine there was looks like I got about 3, I believe. Yeah, plus like the actual washer. So there's like 3 shims and like an actual washer. So we pulled those off. Yeah, because you're gonna need to put those back on, and all of them, whatever came off, because that's what balances your unit there. So then I took a black Sharpie and I put a line here and then there, so that I'll be able to line it back up when I'm putting it back on. So now I think I'm just gonna pull the whole unit off together. All right, and then when I pulled it off, I grabbed both pieces because you want them both to come off together. One thing that I noticed right away is looks like I got some kind of like rust going on, kind of in my bearing area. Yeah, it's like kind of rusty down there, it looks like. I also got this like streaking and quite a bit of like black dust, especially on the back side. Got some of this like black dust. So it's definitely good that we're gonna be cleaning this off here. Another thing I noticed is this black residue on the back there. I don't know if that's burnt rubber or hot belt as well. But we'll try to clean all this off. All right, so Lefty Lucy's gonna get her out. At first I was nervous it was reverse threaded because it was taking a second here, but the impact ended up doing the job. And so there it is. So now we're gonna put our puller in there and hopefully that'll take this off the rest of the way. So the number is 322197356. This is the clutch puller I got. It's got like 3 tiers and then the threads. Here's my clutch, 2021 Polaris Ranger NorthStar XP1000. So goes in, goes to the second tier, doesn't make it to anything that can thread onto this. So, you know, twist it, thinking it's gonna get into something, but it's not. It's not getting into anything. I can't grab. This isn't the right size. Here's the bolt that came out. They're not the same diameter. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but this doesn't seem like the right tool. All right, so then I made a black mark so that it's gonna be able to match up when it goes back on. It doesn't seem as though our puller's gonna go on at this point. I think I might have to remove this black part in here first. And then I think the puller might work, so we'll see. All right, so in order to use the clutch puller, you have to pull out this black part, and there's a washer in here that drops down. I use this like needle thing and I like put it all the way in there and pulled towards me. And now I think I might be able to use my my clutch puller. All right, so I'll take that back. There was 2 washers that fell down when I pulled this out with my needle pick. And so this one looks as though it was touching in here. So now we're gonna stick our puller into there and voila! Now our tool works. Woo! All right, so at first I thought the clutch puller wasn't the right tool, but then I realized, okay, so I had pulled out the bolt that was in here. That bolt was our I used the T60 and that bolt. It's like this, and I ended up you have to use this thing like a little like puller guy. I stuck it way down into here, and I pulled out this. It's the black part that you see. It's a washer, or two washers. So black part, two washers. Once this is removed, then your clutch puller actually will work. You just put it in by hand, turn it to the right. Now it's tight, and then I'm gonna use my impact here and my where's that? It's gonna be a 7/8 on the clutch puller. So there we go. All right, now they are both off, and we are gonna clean them. We're gonna inspect for anything that looks like damage. I don't see any like weird wear marks on my unit. One thing I'm gonna try to be mindful of is keeping my marks together. I don't see any wear marks here, but I do see, residue here. This is something that we're definitely going to try to remove. I see that here as well. And so that's like basically belt dust. And this also like looks pretty healthy in here. I don't see any like weird wear marks. But we're going to clean this off. Looks like I might, maybe have a little bit of rubber starting to rub weird there. But so I got my Scotch-Brite pads. I got these on Amazon. I think I'm gonna cut them so they're not so big, so I can use them a few times. I got acetone. I got my brake cleaner. I might just use the acetone because, pretty much everybody on YouTube is using brake clean, but also then you see a bunch of people in the comments saying, don't use brake clean, don't use brake clean. You might even see it on Hunter Works. He uses brake clean. So I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is. Maybe there isn't a right answer, but you can use either of these to clean it, it seems. It just seems as though you need to make sure that you wipe it all clean off before you put it back on. You don't want any of this still on your unit, so you want it to be dry, basically. That's the goal. I would like to know if I can use WD-40 in here, because this is looking pretty rusty. I think I'd like to do something about that. I don't know what to do about that. And actually, before I put any sort of moisture on these, whether it's the acetone or the brake clean, or even I've heard people use rubbing alcohol, I'm gonna blast it one more time, just because I know that once I get it wet, the dust isn't gonna blow off as easy. So I'm gonna do this to both the primary and the secondary. I'm gonna blast it out, and then I'm also gonna take this and blast the inside of this out one more time since they're off, and then I'm gonna use the liquid and the Scotch-Brite pads, and we're gonna rub it up. All right, so I'm super glad that I took these apart, because this was 100% where I needed to blow out the most. It's been holding all of the belt dust in here. So don't be afraid to separate them, because now that you have your mark set, you know where it needs to end, and you're fine. So you can manipulate your pieces. It's been a huge learning curve for me, but I'm just a regular person with almost no mechanic experience, especially on clutches, so you can do it. It's time to shine. All right, so there was like little lines. You could kind of see where the rubber may have been wearing, and so that's what you use the Brillo or the Scotch-Brite for. And you just just kind of scratch up the surface a little bit and go back over it with your brake cleaner. I ended up using brake cleaner for everything, so if people criticize that, that's fine. It's just what I've seen other people doing, so I'm not saying that's the way to do it. But so I even used Q-tips. Q-tips became pretty useful for me, so I would spray a little bit of brake cleaner top of a Q-tip, get inside of these smaller places. Every once in a while I'd stop and I'd spray everything off again, which would produce even more dust. And this is looking pretty brand new to me, and I did the same for this unit here. So I did end up using WD-40 in here and just cleaning it out as much as I could, going up and down a few different times, hitting it from both sides. I noticed that the black rubber dust was getting collected inside of these pockets, so I literally hit everything with brake clean and a rag. I pretty much touched every single part. The harder parts I hit with the Q-tips, but they're both the primary and the secondary are looking pretty rock solid. Pretty much brand new. Just so you know, your mark can get rubbed off with your brake cleaner, so you got to be careful not to undo your marks. So every once in a while I'd re-hit the mark with the marker. And the place where I noticed the rust on the secondary, I also noticed it here, being that they're pretty much touching the whole time of their life. So and I had a lot of buildup. You almost couldn't even see the bearing. So I brake cleaned in here. I did the Brillo pad, the Scotch-Brite, around in this section here, because that's where I saw the most of that black dust build up. Everything's looking really good. I hit the rim pretty heavily with the rag. Wanted to have that really clean connection so that there's, a good seal. I even hit where the screws go in pretty well with the rag there, because I want it to be able to close up pretty well. And so now I think we're at the point where we're gonna close it back up. One thing I am curious about is, should I put some grease on this unit? I'm not sure if it was greased. The brake clean probably took off any grease that was there, and being that it is a bearing, it probably should have some lubrication. I don't have any grease on hand, so maybe somebody can let me know if I should have re-greased it, but I think I'm going to close it back up because it should have some residual WD-40 on there. It's not the best grease, but it should be still like a little lubricant. So after talking to a friend, I think I'm going to wait until I can go to the store tomorrow and get a little touch of grease, even just a little fingertips worth, just to have hit on that little bearing, because I think that may have been what collected all that dust. So it might be good just to have a little something on there. I don't think the WD-40 would be enough. So that's it for tonight. And then she's really, really ready just to get thrown back together now. Everything's all cleaned up, and it's time to call it a night. All right, so we're gonna use red and tacky grease. This is good for wheel bearings. And we're literally just gonna use the tiniest little dollop. I'm gonna put it close to the bearing. It's just a very, very small amount, barely enough for a fingertip. All right, so I actually I put my black thing and my 2 washers in before I put this back on the side by side. I did it while it was flat like this. It was a little easier, and I actually did just a couple little tiny love taps with the rubber mallet to get this to go down, and then it slid down all the way by finger tight. So I think it should be ready to go back on. All right, I put the bolt back in using my T60 on my impact, and I ran it until it was tight, and then I did 6 little 1-second blasts, beep, 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 and that's my science, because I don't know the exact spec pound it's supposed to be. So, all right, so that inner red section was kind of rusty for me, so I used Q-tips, probably about 20 of them with a little WD-40, and I just kept rubbing until pretty much the red stopped coming off for the most part. All right, so we got our I got 3 on mine. I think it's different for all of them because it's like a balancing thing, and they're all fine-tuned. All the clutches are fine-tuned from Polaris. I let all this sit in some WD-40 for a few days, and now we're going to put it back in. All right, so we got our 10 millimeter. I did that all the way hand tight. I'm just going to do 3 little quick bursts, little 1-second pop, pop. 3 of them, and call that good. I think it's supposed to be 55 pounds, but this should work. All right, so it's on. I don't know if that little noise is normal. I'm assuming it is, because once I spin it fast, oops. Ugh. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It might be just like weights and balance. But okay, so now I'm gonna put this back in. I'm gonna spread it out. I'm gonna put my belt on. All right, so the new belt, the only difference I can tell between the new and the old belt is that you can't see like the fine white as well with the old belt. I wouldn't call this like glazed, but I don't know. To me, this looks like it's still usable. But we're gonna put a new one on there because we don't want the rubber smell going on, and it's a new season. Maybe when winter comes around, we'll put this back on for plowing specifically, and we'll keep this one for trail riding. All right, so our belt is slid on over here. I started it on this side, and then I just kind of got it pinched on the top here, and I just spun this until it fell on. Now we take out our little tool here, and we put the cover back on. All right, and then the next step after the belt was on is I just spun this and spun this and spun this until it got tight, because if you don't do that, then your belt's obviously just gonna be real floppy. And so once it's kind of feeling tight in there, that's where we want to be. And this can be done without having your whole unit jacked up, because the tires don't need to be able to spin to be able to hand tighten this. I went to the right. All right, so we got our thing positioned, our cover again. We're going to be using this 5/16 to reinstall our little bolts. All right, so after we get this guy mounted, we're going to put our bolts back into these guys here and there. It helps to have an extender for both the plastic cover as well as an adjustable head. That really helped, because it's actually pretty hard to put all the I think it's 8 of them back into this unit. Just remember, so this is a bolt location, this is a bolt location, and then this is the location of your little push pin. You could probably also just do a zip tie there, because that'd be easy. You just cut it off when you're doing the change next time, but I decided I would learn how to use these, and I didn't ruin it, so that's nice. All right, and then we reattached our hose here, and we're done.